There's so much hope in toxic relationships. People aren't just in toxic relationships because they feel good. There is this hope that is connected to a toxic relationship. We understand one another. The world is against us, but we still want more. It really does feel quite beautiful to be with someone who is just as broken as you are. The only issue with that is when you are with someone who is just as broken as you are, it is highly unlikely that you all will create an environment that is safe enough for you all to heal. And separating from someone who has that level of poison and trauma that you yourself possess, it is important for you to know that it's not going to be easy. Your heart is going to break. It can be the right thing and a painful thing at the same time. And so if you think that you have to stay until you can walk away and be Miss Independent, Miss Confidence, then you'll be in that relationship for another 20, 30 years. The true test of the willingness to transform is being willing to sacrifice your own heart, your own brokenness on the altar of transformation and saying, I'm going to walk away even if it hurts, even if that person becomes the perfect spouse or perfect partner to someone else. They're not the one for me. And because they're not the one for me, I have to disconnect from their journey, disconnect from their future, and focus on what I need for myself.
Welcome, everybody. You are tuned in to the Queen Behavior Podcast. Man, listen, that clip alone. Now we've been looking at this title, the topic, and stuff for this show all week, and is this is one that I've gotten some feedback already, and I we haven't even had the show yet. So y'all are tuned in on a great night. I don't think this is just for our women, but I think this our guys can really truly get something out of this as well. I want y'all to take this time to like and share this podcast with anybody that you think may can connect with this, may need this. Even if they say they don't need this, this is a conversation that we definitely want to have with anybody that we can connect to at this time. And I feel like we got the right ladies on tonight, man. Y'all know the crew. Let's introduce the co-host of this show that come on here with me every month and we do a couple of episodes, man. Queen Philly, what's going on, girl?
Hey y'all, how y'all doing?
And we got comedian Lady Q, the one and only. Let's go.
What's going on, everybody? So excited, ready to get into this topic like ASAP.
ASAP. She got her gear on. Look, I just know that shirt was for today. I don't even know what to say. It's just the heels. I don't know. Maybe it's the heels. But we do have a special guest on tonight, Miss Natasha Jones. I know she got her own title on Facebook. Y'all may know her under a different title. She got multiple titles, multiple hats. The girl is doing her thing, but just on the simple fact that she puts out some great content, especially dealing with relationships and stuff. And I believe she's a relationship coach. Am I right?
Absolutely.
All right, all right. So we got the right one on with us tonight. We talking
Woo.
about toxic relationships. I want to give you a second, real quick, Tasha, to introduce yourself to the people.
Just a little synopsis. I am Natasha Jones. They call me Psalmist Jones because I am a worship psalmist. I am a gospel artist. I'm a musician, drummer, keyboardist, mom, author, you name it. I'm a learning development coordinator. And I just love being able to impact and compel people to just be who you are and don't apologize for it. We don't owe nobody no apology.
It's true. Woo! You know that topic gonna be hot now. She done said she ended with that. All right, so I want to start off because I just want to jump right in, and I want to start off with just that last thing you said, not owing anybody anything. Like when we talk about relationships, especially on this show, we it's so broad because we can be talking about marriages, we can be talking about boyfriend girlfriend, we can be talking about friendships, and this is vital. Toxic relationships can affect each and every one of those things. Does it make it okay in any of those areas? Absolutely not. So, but one of the major things I think that we have to understand or focus on is our the way we receive and the way we see things in that relationship too. Because a large part of that is understanding that first we are in a toxic relationship and we keep going in these cycles, and how to come out of that and why it's so important to come out of it. I know me being stuck in toxic relationships I didn't want to come out. It felt good to be in a relationship where somebody understood me. I was in a marriage like that. I had a best friend like that, and it took a lot to really pull away from that. And so I got a long testimony about that, but I don't want to get into that right now. I really want to hear from you ladies about this topic. What was your initial thought process when you heard what we were going to be talking about? We'll start with you, Miss Tasha Jones, the
Well,
relationship.
well, my initial thought process when I saw toxic relationships, I thought about freedom. Because a lot of people don't know they're free, and they've been free a long time ago. They just been scared to step out and step into freedom,
Oh
just like
yeah.
a baby elephant. They tie the baby elephant up when he's younger by his ankle. Once he gets older, they free him, but he never moves because he doesn't know he's free.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm.
Sound
so
like chewing teeth.
that's just like some of us. We don't never know we're free, and we've been tied for so long,
Yeah.
and based off of validation and entitlement, and a lot of people used to say, old people used to say it's better to have a piece of man than not have a man at all. I think that's
Mm.
like
Yeah.
I don't want a piece of nothing. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a popular saying, and I think there's a lot of, especially women, still live by that today because you got that old mindset of the man is gonna do what the man is gonna do, and I just gotta fit into that mode of what I'm supposed to do as a wife or as a girlfriend or whatever. First of all, I don't believe that you should be doing wifely duties as a girlfriend, but I mean
Mm.
that taught me something. Like when I became the wife before it was that time. They say that's a good thing. I guess in some ways it is, but there's some allowances that happened that made it okay for certain things to happen inside of that relationship. I.e., just not understanding who I was a major part of that. I allowed myself to be told what to do and when to do it and how it should be done, and I hesitated, a lot. So a lot of decisions I made end up, being a negative for me. Anyway, I want to hear from the girls real quick because I'm gonna start going into it. Queen Philly, go ahead and let us know what you thinking.
Just like mentioned, codependency, just feeling like you have to have somebody there and being afraid that nobody else will accept who you are. And I think a lot of that has to do with the toxicity that we have inside of ourselves. Like sometimes
Mm.
we certain level of toxic, and that's why we're drawn to it, and they know that.
Mm.
That has a lot to do with it. That's the first thing that came to mind when I saw the
Don't
topic.
nobody want to talk about that though. We don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be the other person, them, what
Yeah.
they did. Don't nobody want to talk about that. Lady Q.
Well, when I first saw it, I thought about been there, done that, glad I ain't there no more. And when we talk about the freedom part, I recognized the toxic relationship I was in, and I knew for sure that it wasn't me because I've always known who I am
Yeah.
and what I brought to a relationship. I always knew that I was a good person, and that's in any relationship, friendship, um, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, mother, daughter. I know I'm that person for somebody. And I feel as though when that person doesn't add value to my life or give what I'm giving out, I know that it's time for me to separate. But sometimes we hold on to things, number one, thinking that's never going to come along again, or, we're just never going to have that chance, especially living in Atlanta where the ratio is 1,000 to 1. When you get into something, you're like, okay, even with female friends, you get into a clique or you get into a
Yeah.
group and it's like, okay, I'm gonna hold on to this and thinking people are going to change and people are going to do better.
Mm-hmm.
And it just never works. And you have to recognize and know your worth in order to make that U-turn and walk away from that. You have to do that. And I know it's easier said than done. Like I said, been there, done that.
Mhm.
It definitely is. I got the ladies. The ladies put this, y'all. I didn't put it. Stephanie, you're a trip. See, that's my girl right there. No, ma'am, I don't agree with that Betty Wright mess. So, so we going back to this is how again, how we grew up, how we see relationships, and what we accept based on what we believe. Lady Q said something very key. Do I believe I can get this again? The good part of this relationship, and a lot of times I know for me personally, I held on to relationships because I felt like this was it. I had a best friend and we were really really close, and I was like, yeah, this is it. Can't I've wanted a friend my whole life like this. You wrap it up, put it in a bow, and you put everything into that friendship, and you're like, I don't need nothing else. So everybody else that was around me started falling off, and I started just going all in this friendship, which turned into a negative. I mean, we were toxic for each other, and but we had this. By this time it created a soul tie, because other things started to happen in the relationship, and because of that the breaking was hard. It doesn't matter how many people told me, Chanel, that's not good. They seen it a mile away, but I couldn't see it. Like I would go against the world and say, listen, you don't understand, God did this. It doesn't matter how much we fight, how much we argue, whatever. This is who God has placed in my life. So I started to put everything into that relationship, knowing it was tearing me down, knowing I had more broken days than I had up days, more dark days than anything. Like, and that was just a friendship. We're not even talking about the other side. So if I had that in the friendship, what was I going through in the marriage at the same time? So I'm weighing both of those relationships. So I want to go a little bit deeper in there. And Lady Q, I want you to go a little bit deeper into what you said when you were talking about uh, it's like they don't. How can you move forward and you don't have hope that this can happen again? And I'm saying that right. Somebody help me out. Like, how
I
can you
think
move
so.
forward?
Right.
Okay. All right. You got me.
I got
Talk
Yeah.
you.
on that a little bit. Talk on
I
that a
got
little
you.
bit.
It's the old saying, when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired,
Mm,
when you get tired of the restless nights, and unfortunately some people go through it longer than other people. But when you get and prayer, now I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I have prayed some folks out of my life,
wow.
and at that time it didn't seem like overnight, and that's when you recognize it being toxic. And
Mm-hmm.
I prayed and I said, Lord, I said, remove this person from me, just don't make it through death or sickness, because we got to be
Mm,
specific in our prayer. Not
yeah.
only have I done that for me, I've done that for my children. When my children have been in toxic relationships, I prayed that prayer.
That's
And
a tough
so I
one.
was to the point of, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, knowing that that person was going to change, knowing that it was a cycle. Okay, we good for 3 months, we horrible for 3 weeks, and it always seemed like the good outweighs the bad. So
Mm-hmm.
I was just at my breaking point. And the crazy thing about it is that the breakup or the separation was so simple. It was something so minute, like a hangnail. But for me, that was my reason, to walk away and never look back. And I believe in blocking and deleting. People don't block and delete. When you say that you're done and you walk away, I block and I delete, because I don't remember nobody's phone number. So I don't have a reason
Oh,
to call you. And then when you try to contact me, if you're not in my contacts, I don't have a reason to answer you. And we all know those three letters are going to come across your screen. HEY or WYD.
or
That's the
can
person
we
that you
talk?
do. Right. Right.
Can we
And
talk? Like, it's done. Like, and I get that. But it is, you do get in those situations where it's you memorize a number. You know when it's coming.
mhm,
Or the y'all. For me, I had a lot of situations, and this is where I go into where it becomes a soul tie, because you're connected in a different way. Like you have like these feelings inside before that person even call. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? It's
mhm,
like you start feeling this thing before they call, when they do something, and sometimes it's hard not to press that button to see what they doing. After the relationship is gone. So you have that going on too. Is not as simple as saying, I just don't want to talk to them because I can be strong this week, not talking, not doing, I'm doing my own thing. But what happens is, and I know a lot of people can attest to this, they probably won't admit it, is that you go on Facebook, you go on and hang around with other people and you try to prove to yourself that you are over this and you are doing well and you're doing better. And doing that sometimes it's more about proving it to yourself than proving it to them, because you know you're still struggling with some things. So sometimes I don't think it's as easy as just deleting that number or blocking it. Because even blocking it, if it's strong enough, you'll go find a way to get around it.
But it's a process. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is a process, and it's not something that happens overnight. And I'm not even trying to fake like, oh yeah, I did it, because you hear that song, you see that car that looks like theirs, and your heart start beating fast. You're like, oh, is that person? And da, 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 da.
Yeah.
So you just, it's a process that you have to go through. It's a daily struggle,
Yeah, it is.
in order to walk away. But what I also do right quick is I remember the toxic parts. So if that number comes across, if I see that person, I'm not thinking about how you make me feel and oh, it feels so good and all of this stuff. No, I'm thinking how fool you act and how
Oh, so
toxic.
make a
That's
checklist.
yes, that's what
Make
I
a
go through in
checklist.
my mind. No, mm-mm, mm-mm.
I like that. Like changing your mind up. You know,
Yep.
not thinking about the good things and sitting there all depressed, but think about why this
Hmm.
relationship had to end in the first place. And
Exactly.
that's what's gonna take the it takes a time for it to become a habit, you know, for you to
Hmm.
get into that place. I want to hear from you, Tasha, on that point right there.
Okay, so for me, I had to understand what I was worth. And to be able to release a toxic relationship, you got to understand, am I maximizing my full potential? And if
Mm,
I'm not reaching my full potential, and every time I feel like I'm going up, something
yeah,
is knocking me back down. I'm going up, something is knocking me back down. Now I have
yeah,
settled and servitude, because our hearts as women, we want to serve, we want to cater, we want to have the broken wing syndrome. We want to fix everything. We a
mm,
repairman or something. And I had to realize this ain't Build a Bear season. I can't put your arm on. I can't put your leg on. I can't pull your pants up. I had to realize for me, what does
yeah,
that mean to me? What is my toxic? Okay.
mm,
And some people have different levels of their toxic, what they can
that's
tolerate.
good.
Some people
Hmm.
tolerate it because it's been modeled from childhood up. So if this is the only model that I have, then this is what I'm going to manifest. Okay. So
Mm,
that's what you got to understand. Even though I had the model, I'm in a remodeling season. You know how you remodel a house? That's
yeah.
what you have to remodel some things. You have to
Hmm.
fix things that may be broken. The window may be cracked. This may be, whatever it is about you, that why I keep attracting this energy, why I keep drawing myself to this. And when I had to realize that when I was attracting toxic people, it's because I am a healer. So what I attract a
Mm,
person, I want to heal them. And that's
Mm,
anybody, friendship,
yeah.
family. I'm a
Hmm.
natural person that wants to fix it and let me fix
Yeah.
it. And I got to realize you got to be careful when you carry that kind of weight and that kind of anointing. You'll be trying to heal a counterfeit, and it's not a
Yes.
God. So you'll be turning somebody into a godsend. You'll make it look like that this is what that person is, because it's premeditated, because they brought you a false representative, and you've
Yeah.
already premeditated what it looks like in my mind versus what's reality.
mm,
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love when you talked about the levels too, because there are some people that say because it's not that bad, I can stay in that, or
mm,
because it's not, and then someone looking into that will be like, hold on, wait a minute. Yeah, because I can see how it's affecting you. I can see how it's affecting your mind. Like these cycles, they like literally, it's like poison, giving a little bit of poison here, a little bit of poison there, and you thinking you ain't gonna die eventually, you know. And but I do believe, and this will probably we'll expound on it later on in this conversation, that God, because He did it for me, God will take things or break things away from you that He know you're not gonna do yourself. And
oh
Right.
so
yeah.
we will try to go back and grab what God has. He said, okay. I'm like, God, I need the peace. I need that. He said, okay, break. Then when the break happens, we're trying to grab for it.
Yep.
We trying to grab back without God, you gotta help me with this. I need, but you needed the peace. You needed to be broken from that because you wasn't gonna do it yourself. So I did it for you. But then we have a tendency to go back into the toxic because it's comfortable, or go
Yep.
back into the toxic because that's what we know. And I like that you talked about, the generations, that's what you grew up seeing. So then we go into generations, and we can call it generational curses. I don't know. But let's talk about that a little bit, Queen Philly. What we grow up seeing and how that affects us
That's
in
exactly
relationships.
out where I was going to go with it, because everything that each one of y'all said, I actually lived that and experienced that. Because I grew up with rejection and abandonment, having to go from foster home and just not having no parents at all and just being in uncomfortable places all the time. It was like I was always looking for some type of acceptance. So it was
Yeah,
easy to grab hold of whether it was toxic or not. I just needed somebody to make me feel love and make me
yeah,
feel that importance. And I think a lot of people, depending on different situations or different, what you mentioned earlier, generational or bloodline curses, we will gravitate to what we felt like we was missing, what we didn't have, or something familiar, or just having that comfort, something that gives us some type of comfort. And a lot of people stay in it because of that.
yeah.
For me, the biggest thing over abandonment was a rejection, right? And a step.
Mm,
So I tolerated so many relationships. I just wanted somebody to care about me. I just wanted somebody to love me for real. And I
yeah,
would say,
yeah,
I love me for real. So and the relationship that I was in, it was so horrible until I kept losing jobs. I couldn't even function, you know,
mm,
life wise. I couldn't even function with this person in my life. And I did not want to let it go. I would
yeah,
suffer so many different, you know what I'm saying, situations, job, children, everything, just even abandoning my children when they were small because of this relationship. And a lot of
yeah.
us do, and we
Hmm.
don't want to admit it, but it was toxic, like I mentioned earlier, that was inside of me that felt like I needed to have that well. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? um and she also mentioned learned behavior. I believe that a lot of it is learned behavior as well. The people that you
hmm,
see around you and above you, or and that you look to as a role model, whether it be your mom or an auntie, or a pastor or whomever. When you see certain things on them, sometimes you will mimic it, thinking that that's how it's supposed to be. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So that has a lot to do with it too, just being on the, on that side of things.
yeah. I think I know looking into I had an admiration for strong black women growing up. It wasn't like it's like I was looking at attributes that they had, and that's what I wanted. And
Hmm.
I found out later it's because I felt like I didn't have any of those things. I felt like I wasn't that woman. That's who I wanted to be. It wasn't so recently I looked at a picture of mine and I said, dang, I can admire that woman. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that other people would say about me, I still wouldn't believe. Oh, you got a good heart, you got to do that. But look what this get me. Look, I'm
Yeah.
in a relationship and I got a good heart, and you love me because I got a good heart, but everybody keep breaking it. So if you keep breaking, like, what's the point of having the good heart? So
That's
you started
it.
thinking about yourself. Is this a negative thing or a good thing? So
Mhm.
I want to go into, and anybody can hop in, when you guys feel ready. Um, go into the toxicity that's in us, like we were talking about earlier, because I think this is a something that we really don't touch on a lot. And I'm gonna start with you, Tasha, because I want to give you a little bit of this floor because you just look like you just busting out by the seams right now. So um, I want to go into that area, and I want all the ladies that are on here and my guys. Listen, thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all are tuned into the Queen Behavior Podcast. And make sure y'all are liking and share. We appreciate so much the support. I hope this conversation has been a blessing so far, and that will continue to be a blessing. Make sure y'all like and share so that someone else can be blessed by it as well. So we got special guests on with us tonight. Miss Natasha Jones. She is a relationship coach, so we value a lot of her opinion tonight because it's really helping us tap into this conversation the way we wanted to. So, Tasha, I forgot my initial ask, but go ahead and go into that. Oh, toxicity and
About
us. So,
toxic. Yeah,
yeah,
the toxic within us.
yeah.
Intimacy, like intimacy, when we understand like intimacy with even with ourselves is into me you see. So what how far do you
Hmm.
see into yourself of
Yeah.
what's actually toxic? And me, I had to recognize, okay, because you know you're so giving, you're so loving, you're like, I'm not a bad person, but am I a healthy toxic? There's a such thing as a toxic
That's
person
good.
healthy and want what's best for you, but it's toxic for the other person because it's enabling them. Okay, it's causing them not to step up and value who you are. It's causing them not to invest in who you are to make you feel unwanted. So I had a
Good. That's
healthy toxic,
good.
okay, because I'm such a giver and I'm such a person that loves to give, give, give. I'll give you my heart, mind, body, soul, and spirit if I have to. And then my dad taught me if you give somebody all that, and they walk away from you, they walked away with your heart, your mind, your body, your soul, and your spirit. And what are you left
Yes.
with if you've given so much to somebody? So I had to
Yeah.
realize and bring that back that it's okay to have healthy boundaries. It's okay to say yes to myself. It's okay to understand that I don't have to sit there and be like a puppet on a string because I'm afraid you may leave me. I had to realize even though you leave me, God doesn't leave me. Okay, I still have
There we
somebody
go.
here if I have him here, okay, if I have him here with me, then guess what? I have all I need at the moment. And I had to release that part of me because I'm such a giver and I'm such a person with servitude and I like to cultivate and nurture and just build people up. What about I had
Yeah.
to think about me? I had to think about what do I deserve? How do is anybody pouring into me? I'm
That's
pouring
good.
out. If I'm continuing to pour out, and nothing has never been poured back in with our mate, our partners, then how can I continue to pour out and I've never been filled up?
Yeah.
Mm,
I love
Mm-hmm.
that. We
Yes.
don't
wow.
we don't take it. We lose a piece of ourselves every time we give it away like that. That's a good, very, very
Yes,
great point. Very, go
yes.
ahead.
I never heard that before because I was thinking, shoot, I'm good. I ain't toxic. I got this,
Yeah.
because anything other than positivity, I can't, as people say, I can't wrap my mind around it. I can't wrap my mind around being rude. I can't wrap my mind around being, just ugly and nasty to a person, being mean, because
Yeah.
that's not my character. But when you talked about a healthy toxic, where you want to help people, you want to be there for people, I'm like, I am toxic. Because
Me?
it's like, I always say, not on my watch.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
you're not going to be that person opposite of me on my watch. So hey, come on, let's get you pumped up. Let's do this, let's do that. But what I also realize is that I begin to lose energy and I begin to lose myself. And we talked
Yes.
about it on our other show, Dr. T, about protecting your peace. Look
Mhm.
here. I'm 6 months away from being 50. You
Yeah.
talk about protecting your peace. I literally like about to buy a piece to protect my peace. That's how much I want to protect my peace because,
Yeah.
as we all say, life is too short, and I just don't have the energy to put into somebody into a hole.
Yeah.
Where it's just gonna just it's not filling
Mhm.
up.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so that would be my my toxic trait is that I want to save. I almost said something. Black Jesus, hold on. I want to save everybody. I almost say save her.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I want to save everybody. I want everybody to feel good. This is why I do comedy. This is why I travel and I make people laugh and
Yeah. Yeah.
I want people to see it's really not that bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But everybody, I don't know, they ain't ready to come out of that. And it's draining for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I look at my phone sometimes, I'll be like, I ain't
Mm-mm.
answering that. Not
Not
today.
absolutely not.
I
No,
can't.
I'm that same way, and I love when you talk about protect my peace. And the reason I bring it up so much is that I live in that right now.
Mhm.
I have been in the situations where I give so much, but then there's nothing left for me, and that was the cycle that I had to break, or God had to help me out because He broke it first, and I was like I had to struggle with the letting it go kind of thing because my counselor told me, she said, you have a need to be needed. So if I'm not needed, it breaks my heart. So I'm trying to help so much. I'm trying to, and so when they go off on their own, they're doing their thing. I had a problem with that. I wasn't mad, but it's like, but you don't need me no more. But that's the part of the rejection that I was going through that I was still dealing with and didn't recognize it. So I stayed in the toxic relationships, and I was toxic in them as well, because I am sitting there trying to hold on, not letting somebody fly because I want you to need me. I want you to need me. And so now I'm learning healthy ways to do that by now having boundaries. But yeah, I shut down from a lot. I couldn't trust, things that were right in my face. I couldn't see. And I pride myself on, knowing what's going on around me and the people that's around me and stuff. But when you're broken, like to the core, I mean, like you just did not expect none of this, that's another level of hurt, especially for somebody that's dealing with that kind of thing. Like, I need to be needed. I feel like I've been taking care of y'all. I feel like I've been doing all this stuff, and this what you do. So not only was I dealing with the breaking of the relationship, now I'm dealing with what feels like a handicap, because I'm trying to give somebody something that I'm not giving myself. So I had to turn that. I had to flip that around. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Queen Philly.
I can relate to that. But I was going to say that I would say my toxic trait was just my toxic trait would probably be just feeling like, not that I need to be needed, but feeling like something was wrong with me. What's wrong? Why people just can't, no matter how much I pour, this still happens in every single relationship. So what's wrong with me? So that was my thing.
But see, that would make you do what?
And that makes you be an overachiever or try to prove
conform. You like, now I'm conforming to what they want. It's not even you.
So I found myself doing that all the time, trying to go over and above to say, I got your back, like I'm ride or die, I'm gonna be there for you, like I'm not going. And so doing that, people know when you are like that, and they pretty much take advantage and manipulate that too. They tell all their problems and everything they've been through and everything they had to deal with, and so then you're trying not to do those things, or you're trying to make sure you're not that person that does that. And that came from me, like I said, thinking something was wrong with me. So when I'm accepted, now it's like, okay, I gotta show this person I can be there through this. I can be there through this. And I think a lot of people do that. A lot of people around me, I can see it. They still do this. So it's really hurtful to even just see it now that I'm aware,
Yeah. It's hard for me to watch somebody. That's why I say this all the time. I don't like when people kiss butt, suck up, and do all that. I cannot stand it, but in actuality, like, that's kind of what that is when you are in those relationships like that and you conforming to what they need you to be. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, hold on, I'm not kissing nobody but I had to make that real for myself, because I didn't want to come off that way, and I didn't want that at all. So I don't like it when I see it. I still don't like it when I see it. But I make sure I'm not doing it. But I absolutely don't like it when I see it.
It spirals to your children as well. Like, they see, they know that you need that. They know that you're like that. And sometimes they will end up either mimicking you and doing it, or sometimes they'll take advantage of that too. They know you want that. They know you want to feel that and be loved, and they will manipulate that as well, or use it against you when you're not allowing them to do what they want to do. And so I experienced.
One thing I wanted to say, Dr. T, when you was talking about, that God will remove you or remove people, that are toxic or whatever. Yeah. And the crazy thing about you don't want God to do it, because he got a way of doing it that just crushes you. When I wanted out of a relationship, and this relationship was that place I was a part of that I always talk to y'all about.
That cult.
Yes, the cult, the church. Let me tell y'all. I said, God, take me out of this, take me out of this, take me away from it. And I had so many opportunities. First of all, I could have just walked away. Let's just start there. Okay. I could have just walked away.
Yeah.
And there were so many opportunities where I could have just walked away. I mean, he had the door so wide open, I could have took probably the whole congregation with me and walked through the door.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I didn't take the opportunity. So when God did it, it was a destruction. It was massive. It was
Wow.
almost it was tragic. It really was. And it had to happen that way in order for me to leave. I mean, it was ugly. It was real
Yeah.
ugly. And I knew that it was God and I knew that it was him. So if you're asking God for a way out and God is giving you and showing you those ways, and for whatever reason you don't walk through it, when he does it, just know there's no going back.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
none. I mean, it's to the point, and I'm just going to say it. I said, if that's the gateway to heaven, down, please. That's
Yeah.
how much I won't go back. That's that I will never go back. Like
Yeah.
never, ever, never, ever, ever,
Yeah.
ever, ever, never, ever go back.
Yeah.
So if you're asking God for a way out or to get you out, look for those doors and walk yourself. Because if God have to take you out, baby,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that ain't gonna be pretty
Oh, it
at
ain't.
all.
It ain't. Especially when it's in the church. If something get exposed in the church, that's actually how mine broke apart. It came up in the church. We all in leadership and stuff like that. So it bust wide open in church. Is trying to keep it quiet and you can't keep quiet what everybody whispering about.
Right.
And but still, even after the big blow up, still trying to keep it together. And God said, "Oh, you really finna be hurt." So it still didn't end there. You still go through these things, and it's like, how much is enough? It took me sitting in the bed, ready to write that note, and
Mm,
actually waking up in the hospital before I said, "Really, Chanel? Like, is it really worth this?" Like, I really had to. I was sat down for a minute, and God had to put me in that position where it's like, no, you ain't got nobody to call, ain't nobody come. I don't even know how I got to the hospital. I still to this day think about stuff like that. I'm like, how in the heck, God, if I'm here, I'm doing it all for you, because ain't no way in the world that I
mhm.
still should be here over a relationship.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Go on, Miss Jones. Go on, Miss Jones.
Well, I had to realize, God will break your heart to save your soul. Okay, He
Mm,
will do this,
Ooh.
that, and He always makes a way of escape. It's like, should I go out? It's like you see that door open, but you're afraid to make those steps. And for me to realize to stop going against the grain and going against his will, he had to teach me pain, okay? And when he taught me pain, he says, "You feel that." And I told him, "I don't want to feel it anymore." He says, "Then you need to guard your heart." He taught me how to guard my heart. So what became a thorn in my flesh actually became my mentor. And it began to
Mm,
teach me. Pain began to be the thorn that taught me. Pain was my mentor, if that makes
yes,
sense, and
yes.
it mentored me to where I wanted to navigate and not feel that. You can tell a kid, "Don't touch the stove, it's hot," and guess what? They're gonna touch the stove anyway, just
mhm,
because you said it's hot. Same thing,
Yeah.
relationship, situationships, okay, sync ship, whatever you want to call them. God
Mhm.
already told you that ain't for you. He ain't for you. She ain't for you. You see the red flags, you see the distance, you see all this in the beginning. But it's like we go and pick up these assignments, and now we experience unnecessary warfare.
Hmm.
Mm.
It
That,
was never yours to pick up.
right. And
Go ahead, Queen.
that's taking responsibility for your part in that toxic relationship as well. And
Mm.
what you're
Yeah,
grabbing, taking responsibility, because sometimes help is at arm's reach. I say this all the time. It's right there, and we just want what we want and we don't listen. And like you said,
Mhm.
sometimes we have to learn through pain and situations and
Mhm.
destruction, whatever it
right.
takes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
When
the
I look
crazy
back,
thing. Oh, go ahead, Dr. Chanel.
n-
I
when
think
I look back on some of the stuff that I did, like I sacrificed, like I'm like, I almost gave up my adoption, or like God died for me. I dismiss that for a relationship. Or I dismiss
Right.
that like for somebody that all they did was leave, that was gonna leave anyway, and I see it happening in current situations now, and I'm sitting there like, hold up a minute. I almost gave him up for you. Like it's like God came back and got me. He said, not my baby. How can
Right.
I not serve and commit my life to him? So that means anybody else that comes in my life, whether it be friendships, relationships, anything that comes into my life, they gotta add to, and they gotta know who I am, and honor God in that way, because then you won't know how to treat me. If you
Mhm.
don't have a relationship with God in that way, then that's the standard that I have right now, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and the same thing that I put out for other people, recognizing the toxic that I have and understanding I can't save everybody. I'm not God.
Mhm.
And it is what it is, but I can still be a friend. I can still be there to listen and stuff like that, but I can't do it for you,
Right.
So anyway, I just wanted to say that. But yeah, go ahead, Tasha. You were gonna say something, Tasha?
Oh, when you said that, God, he told me not too long ago. So many, how as women we want to be a superwoman. We call ourselves a super this, super that. S on
Yeah.
our chest. He says, I'm
Mm.
not looking for a superwoman, because superwoman, you burn yourself out because you kind of be so much to so many people. He says, I'm looking for a whole woman, not a
Mm.
superwoman. So what's the point of you being super and you're not whole?
Mm.
Mm.
Doesn't make sense to me. That
Right.
right there is what helped me get to this point to where I'm at. So now I'm more focused on being a whole woman than to
Mm.
drive everything to
Woo.
everybody else. I got to be whole to me first.
Yes. Yes.
And then
Ooh,
you
that's
get the
so right.
overflow. How about that?
Right.
Yes.
Oh, oh, y'all know my saying. Y'all know my saying. I'm about to do it again. Listen, you can't tell nobody how to love you. You get to see how they love, and then you decide whether you want to be loved like that. Same thing
Yes.
about yourself. Like, do I want to love myself like this? Am I gonna accept what I'm giving myself? Like, you gotta be real with yourself. And
Mhm.
again, I'm gonna give it all to me, but I got some overflow that's gonna go to my friends, that's gonna
Yeah.
go to my family, that's gonna go to but that's because we have healthy relationships with healthy boundaries. But the first thing is for me to pour into me and love on myself too,
Absolutely.
because that was the missing thing for me. I was trying to please everybody else, but I never stopped and said, Chanel, do you love you? I
Yes.
didn't want to look
Mm-hmm.
in the mirror. I didn't want to, be around people that made me feel less than. I didn't want those things, because I didn't feel like I was there. That's why I had the admiration I had for certain people and all of that good stuff. But long story short, I had to pour into me. So these last 2.5 years for me, I've been pouring back the same thing I give out to people. It's the same thing I've been pouring into me. There's no way I could be able to release where I'm at. I mean, where I was, and release some of those people and release some of those things that I was holding on to without saying, I gotta love me first. I gotta love me first. And the only way I was able to do that is to accept God in a way that I ain't never accepted him before. I started looking in the mirror of the word and saying, okay, replacing those words with my name. I heard a pastor say that one time. And when I replace and put my name there, I am love. I am a woman of God. This is Trinell. This is who he created me to be. And it's not who I am, it's what I am. Do you
Mm.
know
Yeah.
what you are? Do you
And whose
know?
you are.
Right.
Yes, you are, and that's why we say queen a lot. That's why we say, and a lot of people don't even understand where that comes from. That's a huge statement,
Yeah.
Yes.
in the kingdom of God. Like, do you know what you are? Because when
Yes.
you know what you are, you ain't gonna let anything come out your mouth. You ain't gonna accept everything that comes in your ear. You ain't gonna look at everything, that's gonna disrupt what is going on, what God is doing in your life on the inside.
Mhm.
Talking about just the outside. But we're gonna spend our last couple of minutes just going there, talking about that inside. So, Lady Q, I'm gonna let you go ahead and take the mic for a minute.
Yeah, because I wanted to revisit, self-worth and knowing people knowing their worth, especially women. We're women. I don't know how to be a man, so I'm gonna talk to my sisters,
Yeah.
about knowing your worth. And I can't say this enough. If you have not watched this tape, it's old, but it's so powerful, by Juanita Bynum, No More Sheets.
Oh
I'm
Lord.
telling you.
She had me watch that,
to-
y'all. I ain't watched
So,
that till after. Go ahead.
and
But if you have not watched that, please YouTube it, Amazon it, whatever you got to do to watch No More Sheets. And what that taught me is to prepare myself for the person I want, or to prepare myself for the person God has for me. Because we can't be out here saying, "Oh, I'm this, I'm this." Like Natasha said, you trying to be the superwoman, and you trying to climb mountains and make 15 beds and cook 35 meals and all of this stuff. And you what you ain't really, you really ain't doing nothing because you're empty.
Yeah.
You got to know you for you. You got to know your worth. You got to understand your worth. You got to accept your worth. You got to grow your worth. I mean, all of that. You got to
Grow
be
your
in
work. I
tune with
like that.
yourself. Because my thing, and I said, and this is what I said, when God, and I got it from No More Sheets, when God bring me my husband, ain't no way he gonna be sitting on the toilet and say, "Baby, bring me some toilet paper," and I got to run down to the Walmart and get him some toilet paper. As minor as that sound, we got to be prepared. We asking God for all of this stuff, and we're not prepared. Preparation is coming to my spirit right now too, because I remember Bishop Bronner saying, "Y'all want God to do things for y'all, but y'all not even prepared to receive it." That same year,
Mm.
I went and got my passport. That same year, I got booked in Jamaica. Now, what
Mm.
I look like getting booked in Jamaica and I ain't got no passport? What I'm gonna tell them? Y'all hold off your event for
Woo,
6 months. Let me go on and
That's
get my
good.
passport. Y'all better start. I'm prepared. And
Yeah.
there's some more things that I'm preparing for. We want so much from God. We want so much, for him to do things, but we ain't even prepared for it. It's just like his
Yeah.
word say, be faithful over a few things, and then he's going to bless us with many things. That's in our relationships as well. You want this type of person, and you want that type of person, and you shady.
Mm.
You ain't
Better,
got nothing.
you better
You
talk.
ain't, everybody like, what you gonna bring to the table? Oh, I got the table. I got the No, you don't. I ain't got nothing. But you gotta know your worth. And then when that person come, you also gotta have that mindset and that knowledge to recognize certain behaviors that you're not gonna put up with.
Mm.
yes,
Because
Yeah.
see, the enemy will fool us. He will bring us what we think we've been asking for, and then
Mm-hmm.
they start treating us all kind of way. And like you said
Mm-hmm.
earlier, Dr. T, well, God gave me this. Y'all don't even understand. That's what I prayed for. And then, we know the Holy Spirit is intelligent.
Yeah.
Stop going for foolishness. It's making me angry because I'm just thinking about people in my life, and I think about my past, how so many things were accepted. And when I realized my worth and I started walking in my worth and walking in my purpose and in my calling, you wasn't gonna hand me anything. I wish you would.
Yeah.
I wish
Yeah.
you would.
Yeah.
I wish you
I'm there
would.
now. I'm there now.
Yes,
I'm
I'm there
there now.
now.
I
I'm there
like that
now.
I'm there now because I went, like I said earlier, I go back to those. I'm like, girl, what was wrong with you? Like
Yeah.
you have so much value, and so if you know you valuable, and you gonna let somebody make you invaluable by staying in something or being a part of something that's just not for you. Like I've had to make decisions even recently to let go of things that I knew wasn't a part of my future, or that I knew it wasn't the direction God was taking me. And I had to make those hard decisions because I had to put me first. And it hurt some people. It hurt, friends or potential friends. It hurt people. It hurt family.
Mhm.
But I had
yes,
to make those decisions because now in my mind I'm like, I don't want to be bad for you either. I know the way I'm going, eventually I'm gonna hurt you. Eventually we're gonna have some problems because I know where I'm at. And that's
yes.
the healthiest way to invite or disinvite, relationships into your life. Go ahead, Queen Philly.
I was just gonna say God had to show me the reason why I didn't receive the love that I wanted, or the love that I felt I needed, or just love in general, because I didn't even love me. I didn't
Yeah,
love. I
yeah,
thought before I thought something was wrong with me, and because I had all these uh mental visuals of what I thought I was and what I thought I deserved because of the things I experienced. I let that label me as if what the trauma that happened to me was me. You know what I'm saying? Like I imposed my trauma of things that happened to me and damaged me as a child, as and through my development, I thought that's who I was. You know,
Yeah.
even when it came down to different things like, molestation or the traumas that I experienced, I thought it made something wrong with me. And so I had this mental, thought of who I thought I was. I had this image of how other people saw me. And for that
Yeah.
caused a blockage with me receiving love from anybody in the first place. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? I
that's
had to
good.
change my mind about who I was. I had
That's
to
good.
believe that I am who God says I am.
Mm,
You
that's
Mm.
good. Yep.
know, repeating it and everything, whatever it took, I had to, what I'm saying, repeat it over and over. I had to constantly read it,
Mm,
Google it, whatever it took. I wanted to know who I was in Christ, who I
right.
was in Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And the more I studied that, the more I learned that, the more I experienced heartbreak, the more I kept having to revisit the same cycles. God began to teach me how much He loved me and how much I don't love myself. And I began to love me. That's the
Mm-hmm.
first step. Really getting to know you, spoil you, do to you what you want somebody else to do for you. You
Mm,
know,
mm,
good for you. You like
I like
flowers, go
that.
get flowers. And that goes back to what she said about self-worth, loving you, knowing who you are in the kingdom, knowing the power that you have. The When I realized how much power I had in my mind and how I can, how things can manifest by how I see it, and you know what I'm saying, how I perceive it, I began to
Yeah.
coach. You ain't got to look at it like that.
Mm,
Don't get offended by that. Just different things just started to
yeah.
be, and that's when I started changing my mind about that. Everybody started treating me different. Even my kids, they were like,
Mhm.
"Mom, you want something to drink? I ain't have to ask for it." It's like
That's
people
a
start
value. They value you
that,
different because
and
you
and
value you different.
different. They
Yeah.
start different.
Yeah. One thing you said that reminded me of something I learned during counseling sessions is the way you see things. Our perception is real big, because we will respond based on our perception and not realize that it's not even reality. Like some of the stuff that I would say to my counselor at the time, she'd be like, "But is that real though? Is that true though? Is that the reality of it, or is that just because you believe this is what this person is thinking or doing, to spite you or something like that?" And you're like, "Are you on this side or my side?" But I had to really think about it. No, I'm really causing problems as well because the way I view things. I'm responding
Mm.
out of my perception or the negative perception that I have and not based on the facts of the situation. So I learned to kind of deal with that. So that has been a big help for me as well. All right. Thank y'all ladies for tuning in. I am prepared. All right now. Can't pour from an empty cup. Listen. Y'all, ladies, thank
Mm.
y'all so much for tuning in to the Queen Behavior Podcast. Yes, underlining issues. That's what we need to face, to target or to think about. This ain't a build of your best season yet. Cool. All right, ladies, thank y'all so much for the support and tuning in. I pray that y'all are getting something out of this and make sure that y'all continue to post it because this is going to go on demand. That's the good thing about social media, guys. Y'all can continually have this conversation. This is not a one time conversation. We'll continue to have these conversations and break them down in little nuggets because we need this. This is what it's all about. Queens building queens, queens having these conversations so we can build each other up and keep each other accountable to, pouring into ourselves and becoming what we were called to become or who we are and all that stuff, just kind of highlighting that. So I think these conversations are very necessary. Please look out for more information on the conference because this comes with a book that is now turned into an anthology. Y'all will hear more about that soon. But Queen Behavior book, God is taking in that direction, is attached to a conference that will be happening in January, which is when the book will actually be released. So y'all make sure y'all stay locked in for that. Keep tuning into these episodes, because this is what the conversations are built for, or that's what we're having the conversations for. Because ultimately, I want to see you thrive. I want to see you go forward and power in the power and the anointing that God is putting over your life. So anyway, I appreciate you guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. All right, Miss Natasha, I want to give you a few minutes to just kind of give us some empowerment. Yes, I'm putting you on the spot. You are the
Look at here.
special
I'm
guest.
gonna get you in, Queen, because y'all keep saying power, and that's what I'm, because I had something I wrote down when you guys were talking. Before you said power, the Queen came and said power, then you said power. I'm like, okay, guys, power it is. Okay,
Yes, yes,
we learn as women to not walk in the spirit of offense and to walk in the spirit of power. That is a different, that's a different position. Okay.
yes.
When you walk in power and not offense and not offended by everything somebody say, do, move you the wrong way. I've learned not to walk in emotions and not to wear my emotions on my,
Mm.
but to walk by faith. Faith
Yes.
is my greatest weapon. Okay. Faith is my greatest weapon, not validation from people, because by faith, I know my purpose, I know my position, and I know my presence. Therefore, I know my power to produce. Does that
That's
make any
good.
Mm.
sense? And
Yes.
when you know your power to produce, when you know when you in the right relationship, you know how to produce in that relationship. And if it's not producing what it's supposed to produce, then you know how to back up and say, okay, you know what? I'm not in this thing with my emotions. I'm with you by faith. When you love by faith and not love by emotions, that's a different kind of stance. So when
Wow.
I get into my relationship, I'm not loving you by emotions. I'm gonna love you by faith, by what I cannot see, what I'm trusting
Yeah.
God, what I'm hoping for. That way I won't be so that way I won't be so deeply rooted in my emotions, and when you walk away, I'm totally broken,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
and I'm disappointed, and I'm left unwanted and feel like, I'm not worthy. I'm never going to give myself again. And this is me. I'm never going to give myself again totally to a person to where I've lost my self-worth and I've took my
Ooh, that's
purpose,
so
put it
good.
on the hanger and hung it in the closet and
Yeah.
closed the door. I'm
Yeah.
never going to close the door on myself again.
Yeah.
Mm.
No
Amen.
compromise. No compromise.
Amen.
No
Go ahead,
compromise.
lady.
It is not even up for negotiation. It is
Mm,
not even up for negotiation. You have
mm,
your negotiables and your non-negotiables. What do you feel like you can tolerate, and what do you feel like you can handle versus what's not? Like, I'm just not going to settle, because I don't serve a God who settles. I serve a
yeah.
God who soars, okay, who allows me to walk in power. So now my walk is different, my talk is different, my
Yeah.
presence is different, my aroma is different. I
Woo!
carry the aroma
You
of
better
Christ,
go ahead.
my aroma. So when my husband
Yes.
sees me, he knows that's bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, because I smell like his wife. That's my
Mm-hmm.
wife.
Mm.
You better
Ooh,
girl.
she finna start a whole nother show. She
Go
finna
out.
start a whole nother show.
Yes.
That's a good one right there. That listen, that's
To
a good
listen.
one right there. I want to go there, but I can't go there because we only got 2 minutes left in the show. But man, that's so good.
Wow.
I want
That's
to stay
amazing.
right there. I don't even want to add nothing to it. Lady Q, you got some last minute empowering words for the ladies.
I just want everybody to encourage, encourage everyone to strengthen your relationship with God, because to me, that's key. Talk to God, talk to Him about your problems, and He will work them out. Go to church. Go to church
Yeah.
where two or three are gathered in His name. Go to church and get some encouragement. Stop sitting home and being woe is me, or even watching church online. There's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes you need to be in the building to be in His presence for some people. So I just want to encourage everybody to just grow your relationship with God. That's it. That's because it's key. It's key.
Right. And
Everything. Ev- oh, go ahead, Queen.
that's what I was gonna say too. Strengthen your spirit. Strengthen your
Mhm.
spirit. Study the word. Learn who you are. God will begin to reveal who you are to you. And when
Yeah.
you can have that, like she said, that aroma, and your desire
Mm,
is strong, you ain't just gonna tolerate anything anyway.
Mm, there you go. There you go.
mm.
And that's where I was going to go with that. Like the way you see things, the way you handle things, what you accept in your life changes when you get to know yourself and fall in love with who God created you to be. and not just fall in love with the more you fall in love with you, you fall in love with who created you. You know,
Yes.
there you start to see him different. Your love for him is stronger. Like I'm telling you, your life will be so different from just that moment where you sitting in the trying to figure out what's happening with my life when the first breakup happens, or when you just lost. Like God is truly the answer. It seems so cliche, but God put me in a position where it seemed like I lost everything because he was trying to give me everything.
Mm-hmm.
He was trying to let me to tell me, hey, I got something better for you. Like I want to give you the things you asking me for. I want to bless you. I want to do those things, but you got to let the things, the false things go. You got to let the things that's draining you or taking you away from me and let that go so that I can truly give you who is for you, what is for you. And that's when doors going to start to open up. You're going to start to see things happen. I look at my life right now, I'm like, what? Mika, thank you. You know, and I
Yeah.
love myself. That's the difference between who I was 2 years ago versus who I am now. You can't come in my inbox now. You can't, what you doing me right now? You can't call me and say, I just want,
Mm-mm.
no, I love you, but I can't have that destroy what God is doing right now in my life. Because
Yep.
if he's doing this so good in my life right now, I can't imagine what else. Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard. I'm not interested in anything that ain't connected to him. I've been there, done that. Don't want it. You know what I'm
Period.
saying? I don't even want to make my own decisions. I need God to make every decision in my life. And so I don't want to offend nobody. I don't want to, but I will if it costs me my peace.
Yes.
I will
Yes.
if it costs me, the direction I'm going. I'm not going to allow anything to get in between where I am now and where God is taking me. I
Mm.
can't. I'm not gonna sacrifice that. So that means more to me. So I'm telling you, it sounds cliche, but yeah, get with some women of God that's been somewhere, and that's somewhere. Don't get where y'all get in a little group and y'all talk about y'all problems. Get in a group where
Mm-mm.
y'all are encouraging each other, and there are gonna be some times where somebody gonna need some encouragement. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying get with some women that know how to pray. Get with some women that you ain't got to tell them the whole situation, but you can say one thing and they got that word,
Yeah.
and
That's it.
that's it. You know what I'm saying? And also get with some women that are going in the direction that God is taking you or that you see yourself going. It ain't always got to be somebody on the same level because you got to have vision. Vision, they already there. You still trying to get there. You know what I'm saying? But just make the decisions that's necessary for your peace so that you can do the things that God has called you to do. I will not be in the place that I am today if I had not submitted to the process and felt the pain, allow myself to feel the pain instead of trying to end the pain. I
Mm-hmm.
tried to, use different methods. I wanted the pain to stop, but guys, I needed to feel it. I
Mm-hmm.
needed to feel it so I won't go back there. You know what I mean? So, in counseling, please, Lord, y'all know we've talked about this before on
Mm-hmm.
previous podcasts on the Queen Behavior podcast. Counseling is so necessary. It's so necessary in and out the church. Don't be afraid of that. And we need to have these conversations. I didn't have a counselor that was in the church at first. Then I got one that was in the church, but both helped. Both helped. And especially I needed both. I needed one to get me through one season or one part of that season. And I need the other one to be like, okay, now let's take it back to God. Let's take it back. I needed both of them, and both of them are the reason that I'm still here today. So it's very necessary. Anybody got any last minute words that they want to say that I cut you off or anything?
And Dr. Chanel, when you say about counseling, be careful. People, be careful that you have covenant counseling because some people don't have confidentiality and they got diarrhea of the mouth and they're leaking your stuff out there. Okay,
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's
pray to God for wise counsel. I said, give me covenant relationship. Somebody who's in
yeah.
covenant with Him will be
Mhm.
covenant with me. But if you straddling the fence and you lukewarm, then I know you're gonna tell my business on Front Street. So
Mm.
with wise counsel, especially dealing with church folks, because they messy now. Dealing with church,
Mm-hmm.
you got to be careful that you in a covenant space and you're safe in that place, and you fasted, prayed, and God has directed you to that person.
Yeah. One second, Queen Philly, I want to say something on that. That is so true. Definitely be careful, because counseling relationships, especially in the church, can also become toxic.
Yeah.
Because not just because they can spill the business, but you can become highly dependent on the counsel, so much so it just becomes a vent session, but there's no growth or no coming out, because there are a lot of people in leadership positions that don't know how to lead. There are a lot of people in these positions, in counseling positions, and they don't know how to counsel you. There's a difference between a coach and a counselor and then a cheerleader. You know what I mean? So you do got to know, you have to use that discernment, and covenant is what you're looking for. Covenant is what you're looking for. So that means that they ain't finna just hop on the horse and be like, yeah, girl, you was right.
Right.
And this is why this happened. No, you need somebody that's going to pierce you a little bit too. You
Yep.
know, remember that deliverance doesn't mean that thing ain't going to bother you ever again in your life. That thought may not come in your mind. Deliverance means that you now have power over the thing that used to have power over you. Okay, people get that mixed up, and they be thinking, because I still have these thoughts, because this person still crossed my mind here and there, or because I still do these things, that means I'm not delivered. That does not mean you're not delivered. That means you still got to go through a process. That's what counseling is for. And if they keep you in that space and you don't see yourself moving forward, you don't hit a ceiling. It's time to move forward and find somebody that
Yep.
can help you out of that.
Yep.
All right. So get effective counseling. Thank you so much, Sasha, for bringing that point up. Queen Philly.
You that's exactly what I was gonna say. Now,
Oh,
to be
okay.
said, I was gonna mention codependency, and sometimes those people can become your god because now you're dependent on them
There
for
you
answers,
go.
and
It's that
so
serious.
everybody ain't as trustworthy. But you said everything. You said
Yeah.
everything.
I love it. It's that serious. Just what she said. That person becomes your guide. When you know that, no, that person became your guide. If that person made you switch up, flip, change your mind about the direction God is going and what God is doing in your life, that is your guide. If that's where you pay more attention to, if that's where you compromise at, that's your guide. Is that serious? All right, y'all. Whew, we can go on and on, but we definitely over time. This is your girl, Dr. T, and this is Queen Behavior, the live podcast, man. We with my girls, co-host Queen Philly and comedian Lady Q, my girls. And then we have special guest, Miss Natasha Jones, on with us. And we definitely gonna bring her back because this was a very enlightening conversation. Jeff definitely dropped some gems. Now we're gonna continue to have these conversations, like I said, every second and fourth Monday here on the Queen Behavior podcast. Unless I'm doing something, then I ain't no. But yeah, we're gonna continue to have these conversations as much as possible, leading up to the book release and the conference. I got some surprises for y'all, some ladies that are coming on board for that, that I'm so excited about. But I'll let y'all know more information once we solidify more of that. So but I'm very excited. So y'all make sure when I come out with this date, y'all book it on y'all, mark it on y'all calendars. Don't be acting like y'all gotta go somewhere and I need y'all to be in the house, because
Right.
without y'all, I'm not strengthening. Without me, y'all not strengthened. We got to do this thing together. I love you guys. Thank you so much for the support and tuning in. And we will be back again on the 11th. All right. And we got the beautiful Angela on with us, man. Y'all, that's going to be a hot show. That's going to be a hot show. So, y'all, I love y'all. Any last minute goodbyes, ladies?
That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
Y'all have a
You
great
know I done
night.
say goodbye like 3 times. But anyway,
Right.
love you guys. We'll see y'all again soon.
I love y'all.
Good night. Love y'all.